Angélique, it is incredible to be talking with you. I'm fascinated by what you do. I think you and I are working in a really similar space, but doing quite different things. So, would you mind just sharing what it is that you do? You're a book author, you work with women, mainly in business. What's the journey that you take people on?
So, my title is Online Visibility Strategist. So, if you look at it, it's basically helping women entrepreneurs to, I always say, to get their piece of the cake on the marketplace using social media to recruit clients, to build offers, to promote their services, and to sell. So that's what I do at the end of the day. But after 12 years almost of practicing, digital marketing and teaching it, I realized that if your fears of becoming visible are really loud, even if you have the best strategy and the best social media tactics, you won't use them. And if you do and you push, it won't resonate with your audience. So this is why now a big part of the work that I do with women entrepreneurs is called the Neuro Identity Evolution Framework, which is, who do you need to become as a woman entrepreneur so that you can finally be showing up online, especially if you want to. You don't have to. I always say that you don't have to use social media to recruit new clients, but if you want to, and you got to be consistent, you got to show up. And then when fears kicks in, our mind tells us a bunch of things that we don't have time for social media, that, you don't know what to say, or it's too much, all the things, right? Our mind starts to kind of tell stories and then we don't show up. So what happens is that if you're not showing up on social media and that's one of your top source of leads and get to be known and trusted and liked by your audience, then you won't find clients because they won't see you,
Yeah.
right? So that's why, now the work that we do even before posting, or as we, you work the social media content strategy, we work what's going on in the head and in the body
Yes.
that is so scary about the online world.
So interesting. And I see some parallels there with women in leadership who are in a variety of different situations where they might be in corporate, they might be in their own business, or they might be leading in a new venture or something that they haven't stepped into before. So they're now thinking, how can I raise my profile and how can I get comfortable with that? I think is a lot of that's the question people are asking is how can I get comfortable with that? So it sounds like you would be able to help. I mean, you're applying your skills to women with who are entrepreneurs. What are some of the insights you've seen around what what blocks people? What are those fears? Are they multivarious? Are there all kinds of different fears, or does it tend to come back to one thing? What are the fears that stop women from showing up?
Yeah, I would say, the more I practice this neuro identity evolution framework on women who wants to become visible online, it always go back to your little girl. And the fact that for decades, amazing women like you and I, we were never taught how to feel our feelings.
Interesting.
So we went on the road with our backpack full of repressed, suppressed, oppressed emotions. And then those voices from the past, girl, you're too loud. Why are you crying? For me, I was a very tall girl. I'm still are is sorry, but I was always the one that needed to go in the back because I was too much. I was hiding others. All the things that you call traumas, small or big, you don't realize how much when you're 50, and I'm going to be soon 50, they're still here in the subconscious mind. And when you're on a sales call and someone is ready to buy from you, you screw it up because behind there says money doesn't grow on trees,
Mhm.
like all those voices that you've heard when you were a little girl. Like, this is what I'm seeing in every woman I work with. We go back to the childhood and we literally cancel the stories that don't belong to us anyway.
Mhm.
And then we release, and then this is when the energy completely changes, because you start thinking and believing new belief, new thoughts, which
Yeah.
makes you feel a new way. Feels You feel excited to promote your stuff, you feel excited to show up online like you and I are doing, because we know that our mission is so much bigger than our fears, right? So this is a type of shift. It's very internal. Women come to me like, "What? Tell me what to do." Well, actually, we're not gonna do anything. We're gonna be. We're gonna
Mm.
become.
Mm.
And then the actions start from that place of being a totally different woman. A
Mm.
woman who knows her worth, a woman who knows that she changes the world one person at a time. She
Mm.
knows that she's a guide for her clients. Plus, she's a super talented expert. Most of us women who
Yes.
open a business, we started because we have an expertise, we're so good at it, and
Yes.
we thought that that was it. Business, people are gonna buy it, but there is so much more to a
There's so much
business than.
more. That's right. That's so true. What you're reminding me of, and where I'm going in my thoughts as you talk, is this interesting dichotomy. I think the two are mutually exclusive, between fear and love. And when you talk about people loving their fears and teaching them to love their fears. So is there something there and I picked that up when you were saying the mission is bigger. They're saying, like, people who are showing up, who are getting over their fears, who are doing that work to, to grow past that, let's say, they're saying there's something bigger than me that I want to do. There's something I want to contribute to the world, and that's coming from this place of love, should we call it. So
Yes.
how do you what's how does that dance work out? What do you see in that dance
Yeah.
of the fear and the love?
Yes. So I think when you were asking earlier, what is your thing that you do? I think I'm an expert at fear management because in my world, fears are your green light. As soon as you fear something, especially when you start, growing your business, or you decide that you're gonna really show up online and you're gonna sell and promote your services online, there are some fears that are kicking in. And because this is something new to you, to your nervous system, and you're like, what if, what if, what if? And our mind is so good at going down the rabbit hole. So what I teach women is to dance and love their fears. And so
Mm.
many people, women and others, all of us humans, as soon as we fear something, we duck.
Yeah.
This is not for me. It's too much. I can't take it. I don't know. I'm not good enough. And we stop. When in fact, fear is a protective kind of system that kicks in as soon as you're starting to change,
Mm.
because your nervous system, the way we are wired to, for survival since the beginning of time, is that as soon as something is different in your world, there is danger you could die. But nobody died from a Facebook live yet that I know of. Right? But your system sees that as a threat, because this morning you woke up alive, like the woman who is hiding and
Mm.
feel frustrated, and she knows how overwhelmed she feels. That's how she lives, and
Yeah.
she's sad because she knows she has so much more to bring to the world. And the day that woman changes, the nervous system needs help, because like, what is she doing?
Yeah.
And then our heart starts going, and our stress is picking up, and we're out of breath.
Yeah.
That's because we're going outside of our comfort zone, which is a sign that you're on the right track. And there are so many ways that you calm your nervous system that I teach women. That's part of the work we
Cool.
do. Yeah.
Love that fear management. So it's like that old saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. Or, that the hero uh doesn't not fear, they push through the fear. They feel the fear, but they move forward past it.
Yeah, the only thing I would add, and that's really what's different, is that we don't push through the fear
Mm.
because if your system is in fear and you push, you are like even more in fear. So
Mm,
that's why I say we love our fear. We regulate our nervous system. We
mhm.
connect to our vision because all of us, we have beautiful visions,
Yeah,
right? We
yeah.
talk to our little girls who, when she was maybe 5, 6, or 7, she was sent to her room because she was too loud and she had nothing to say in this discussion. You're just a little girl. Go in your room. So
Mm,
those things are popping up each time there is a change in your life, right? So if you haven't healed that part of you,
yes.
then the little girl is like, no way, I'm gonna do a Facebook Live. They're gonna shut me down, right?
Exactly. Ah, it's amazing how this programming from a really young age just continues to come back. It's almost like life is just one continual journey of rewriting and choosing what narrative you want to be part of. It's so interesting.
And I see it again and again. Like one of my clients, I'm just gonna give you an example. I think she's over 60, but 20 years ago, she decided that she was too old to write a book, which is her number one dream. So we did that work together, and she's writing her book. It's coming up next year. But the
Beautiful.
stories we attach to ourselves
Yes,
are so
incredible.
limiting, when in
Yeah,
fact you deserve everything you desire.
totally.
And yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's a beautiful link into what I would love to hear from you. Just take us through a moment, say in the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or perhaps something that stands out where you've had one of those glorious moments where you've taken someone on a journey and you can see the impact that it's had for them on their life. What did where were you? What were you doing? What did it feel like to see that? If something comes to
Yes.
mind. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm gonna share this one. I could share many, but I want to share this one because the way it can sneak in, you don't even realize it.
Mm,
But so one of my clients right now, um, she comes from a background where she was always shut down, always since a little girl. And she has big dreams, like all of us, we have big dreams, right? And then she was keeping repeating a story around the fact that as soon as she's having a project, she feels overwhelmed. And then there's this story, what those people are gonna say, those people are gonna say, how I'm gonna do it, the
mm,
how, and then down the rabbit hole, nothing would move. So
mm,
when we started to do the work I explained earlier, and that was just in the last 6 weeks, right? Where we were able to identify the little girl, what happened to her. And literally, we bring back people in the very, very moment, that
mm,
specific moment. And
mm,
we go and talk to the little girl. We kind of take her out of the scene and we talk to her. We tell her the truth about her, that
mm.
she's fully inherently whole, that nobody can shut her down because her voice matters.
Beautiful.
And so at that moment, and I've done that exercise many, many times, each time I do a leap, I need to go back and talk to my little girl. And then so there is a lot of crying when we work
Yeah.
together. I'm
Yeah.
telling you that we feel our emotions.
Mm,
But so once that part of you is like, okay, and then you start to identify all the stories you're telling yourself, you're numbing yourself through stories from the past, stories that others are repeating about you forever, and you think that it's true,
mm,
and then and then you share with your friends that this is how it happens, and then you meet another person, well, that's what happened, and you repeat, and you're like really stuck. So when you start to identify those stories that are limiting you in the core action of what you want to do with your business,
mm,
then what's left? And this is what's happening to this woman right now. She keeps having opportunities after opportunities to put in place exactly what she has in her vision. And
yeah.
her first reaction was like, but how, like the old programming, but how am I gonna do this? So we had to say, hey, the stories are back. Look, what's
Yes.
happening right now, you have all the people coming to, do you want to work with me, do you want to work with me? And
Yeah.
now she's in that phase where she's like, oh, that was my old stories, And right now I have those opportunities. Yes, fear is here, totally new. Like people are coming to her, they want to hire her, like 3 or 4 people wants to hire her. She never, she was so in the noise of her stories that she would never see
Mm,
the opportunity that was coming
mm,
to her. And
mm.
now because of the work she sees, and she's like, holy moly, like every day she's in the Facebook group and she says, oh my God, I got that offer today. So it's just,
Fun.
when you do that work, this is when
Mm,
you don't have to chase anymore because you are ready to receive. You
mm.
still do the action. I'm not saying you're like on a couch and you wait that things comes to you,
Yeah.
but
Around
things,
waiting and they all just walk in
yeah,
the door. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
Like, so when you really clear yourself from those stories, from those traumas, from the words you use even in your language every day, where you limit yourself,
mm.
then everything changes because your energy changes. And we all know that feeling when you enter a room or someone comes in a room and you're like, oh, I don't like that vibe, right? You feel
Uh,
the energy,
yes.
right? I'm sure we all know that. So that's exactly what happens in a business relationship.
Yeah.
Online as well. If you're congested in your energies, it
Mm,
reflects online. It reflects in the room. It's the
mm.
same way. So I hope, does that answer your question?
Yes, yeah. I picture you reading the news, reading this Facebook group feed and kind of seeing what's going on in there and seeing this client of yours rave about her beautiful opportunities now and still dancing with that fear and still, managing it, learning how to grow through it. But really celebrating successes for herself. It's just
Yes,
amazing.
yes, yes. All of them right now actually have, like one of the other lady who is in that cohort, she last year she had 15 clients total, and she just announced that she had 8 in 1 week, in 1 month.
Brilliant. Yes. So
Be-
that's
And we,
yeah.
yeah, and we barely did, sorry, my phone rings. We barely did business coaching yet because we're in the redefining your identity.
Yeah.
But that's why sometimes you already do all the right things with your marketing and your sales. You just need to dial in. You need
Yes.
to be that person that is ready to receive and not limited by all the thoughts and
Yeah.
energy that are sticky.
So good. So let's take a couple of minutes to talk about the book that you've written and the framework in there. You've got a visible framework. Talk
Yes.
us through what does that do for people? Why should they buy the book?
Yes. Well, I'm going to share what happened when you read the book based on what people tell me. Some are quadrupling or their prices.
Lovely.
Some, yes, some are like doing organizing retreats because I share 10 very vulnerable stories where actually I go exactly through what I explained, like all my limitations. And because I've been doing the work on me, I was able to pinpoint, why is it that my business doesn't move
Mm,
after investing in so many years, so many coaches, like thousands and thousands of dollars, and still wouldn't move.
mm,
And so this is when, 5 years ago, I'm like, okay, I've done all the business strategy, all the marketing. I had the best coaches and I love them. I still use everything we do, but it was not moving the needle for me because I was not ready. I was not matching
mm,
really with what I was capable of receiving. And
mm,
this is when I started to do the work around, where are coming those stories that, I don't have clients, I can't hit the 6 figure, all the stories around money, all the stories around, I was born and raised in France, where when you were on the farm, when you are on a farm, like there's still a very medieval approach to what a farmer is. And that historical trauma was still in me so big.
mm.
So I kind of opened the hood of my car and I checked all those stories that were like playing in my subconscious mind. And that's what I share with you. And then so I share the story, and for each story, there's an application or a breakthrough in my business. So I show how much, it's probably not your marketing or your sales process that is the problem. And by the way, there is no problem. The thing is, you have all the solution inside of you, but I wish I had known that I needed to feel my feelings, for example. We are never taught that
Mm,
when
mm.
we're little girls, we're like, okay, let's hold it together,
Yes.
like never
Self aware.
expressing how we feel. If you
Mm.
scream, it's bad. If like,
Yeah.
and then that was a new way of living for me, starting to welcome all my emotions,
Yes.
not judging them. And
Yes.
that's how I opened up. And
Yeah.
then when I was opening up, I was like, holy moly, there is a world in me that needs some answers.
Which is when you then
Yeah.
went looking for the new identity work or had that.
That's how it started for me 5 years ago. I did the work on me.
Mm.
And so
Yeah.
yeah, and that changed everything in my business. And I'm like, ethically, I know what I did for me. I cannot teach marketing or business to other women without teaching them how it's a question of identity and how you use your brain and your body to
Yes.
shift the way you see things, the
Yeah.
way you talk about it, and how you use your brain, and you can change your brain. And then that's the fascinating, like neuroscience, meta language, like all those words I didn't know much about it. And
Mm.
then when I started to deep dive into this, it's like everything is possible because everything is malleable in us.
Yeah, totally. Do you have a phrase or a comment or an inspiration for women who are recognizing themselves in what you're saying, in that they may recognize that they're not stepping into the fullest expression of themselves, or they're not stepping into the mission that they feel really connected to because of
Yeah.
fear? Yeah, what would be your inspiration to them at this point?
Yeah. I think the very first thing is make sure that you don't judge yourself. And that's, I think that's what I've learned, how to love myself. When you watch yourself in the mirror every morning, what do you see? What do you say? And
Yeah.
let's start there.
Mm,
And so what does it have to do with marketing and business? Everything. Because if you don't love yourself, why do you want someone else to love you and trust you?
yeah.
And that's the work that
That's the
changes.
work,
That's the work.
exactly. There's a
That's
lot
the
of
work
work
that
there.
makes everything else work. And
So
it's a work in,
yeah,
yeah,
it's a work in progress that you're about to say. And one of the things that people, that I have really been impressed with as I've met more and more people doing life transformation type work, that's a big bucket for a whole lot of different things, is that we've really moved a long way from the years when people transformed through psychotherapy and would sit on the couch of a psychologist for 5 years before they felt like they come to grips with their childhood or their relationship with their parents, or that we've really moved a long way from that. So how long does it take really? What does the journey look like for people? Have you seen that identity shift happen sometimes in an instant, sometimes in 6 months? Kind of like, what is, obviously everyone's journey is going to be slightly different, but maybe just to give some hope that it doesn't have to be a 5 year you know challenge, personal 5 years of digging into the weeds and doing the hard work before you see any change.
so you really want the real answer?
Yes. No fake,
It's
no fluff. Yes, the real answer.
until the end. You do that until the end. It's never done. Because each time you overcome who you've been, you go next level and next level and next level. So for every level, there is a new you.
Yeah.
And that's why, patience, consistency, And
Mm,
a lot of love is the only way. And detaching from the fact that it's hard, when in fact it's you're gonna discover, I think, how lovable you are through that journey. And you're
mm,
gonna become so respectful towards yourself, towards your dreams, towards, all the things you've accomplished already in your life. Like just take a second and turn your head and look back,
mm,
and then not taking that for granted and really breathing through this. And you are here because you are here because of your biggest dreams, and never stop believing in your dreams. Never. And be concise with your dreams, because here's what's going to happen when you do that work. Everything happens, and fast. And then, so right now, I'm going to give you another example, another client of mine. So before you work VIP with me for a year, one-on-one, we do 3 months of the framework, so that I give the framework. And then after that, we start the work of marketing. But this beautiful client of mine, I think we are in our second year together. She had a dream to have more clients, but never really put in her vision, like, what does that look like to have a
yeah.
lot of clients? And right now, in our season of working together, we have a hard time to find sessions because she's swamped with
Mm,
new clients.
mm. Amazing. That's
So that's why I say, when you have a dream, bigger, like dream bigger, and start to visualize that, what does that look like in your life, so that your dreams doesn't become overwhelming, right?
yes.
Dream big and put a lot of space and time in between stuff, and like literally, the more you concise, this is what I share in my book. Like, I started to play on how we can actually make happen things we're dreaming of, and there is a way you do this using your mind and your body. And so at first I was like, oh, let's see if it works. Well, it did. And now I'm like, I'm very careful of what I wish for, because it's coming. Like, don't even doubt. If you
Yeah.
don't believe it, borrow my belief, but it's coming. So make sure that when you dream, it feels so good. Oh, yes, all the clients, and you have 2 hours in between clients. It's not like all the clients and
So have wise dreams. Have wise dreams. Going to give yourself some space to achieve, to have to be in a space of
breathe.
being, not just be swamped. Oh, I love that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. So where can people get the book? Because it sounds fantastic, and I want to get a copy.
It's on Amazon, and I could give you like, I have the do I have the New Zealand? I think I have the New Zealand link for Amazon. Like, I have all the countries that where Amazon is, so I could
Yes.
give you the direct link. Or what I can give you even better. That's what I do usually.
Yes.
I give you a link that has the book, my
Yes.
TEDx, because you were asking, what do you want to say to those women who are like recognizing themselves when I talk? Listen to my TEDx,
Great.
because the TEDx is really about that woman that you are, that I was,
Yes.
that you are watching right now or listening, and then you're like, yeah, that's me. The TEDx gonna really speak to your heart. Like, people tell me that when they listen to it, they're back on track,
Lovely.
right? And then also you'd have access to my podcast,
Yes.
so that you can keep in touch with me. So I'll send you I think I sent you the link, but if not, I will resend it to you.
Yeah,
And then
great.
you have yes.
Sounds good. We'll make sure the book's available. People in the US, Canada, Australia can access it via the right link. We'll sort that out. Sounds good. Thank you, Angelique. Thank you for being here and sharing a really inspirational message. Incredible for women who want to show up, to see that there's a powerful path forward.
Yes, thank you so much for the questions, because they were deep, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. There are so many examples I could give you, but I really hope I inspired you with the ones I gave you.
I'm sure
But
you inspired me.
yes,
I'm sure you've inspired everyone listening. No doubt. No doubt. Thank you.
thank you, and see you on my podcast very soon.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. So cool.